A few years ago, I met a woman at a retreat in California. She was 68 years old. Her husband had passed. Her children lived far away, and she told me, very quietly, almost whispering, that she had given away nearly $40,000 to a man she had known for only 8 months. He had seemed so kind, so interested in her life. He asked about her health, her children, her faith. He made her feel seen. He made her feel needed. And then, one day, he was simply gone. She looked at me and said, "Venerable, I should have known, but I didn't know what to look for." Friends, that is exactly why I want to speak with you today. The Buddha never said, distrust everyone. He never said, close your heart. He said something far more precise. He said, learn to see. In the Kalama Sutta, one of the most important teachings the Buddha ever gave, he told a group of confused and worried people, do not accept anything simply because someone speaks it nicely. Test it, observe it, watch the fruit it produces in your life. That is what we are going to do today. We are going to talk about 6 specific questions, 6 things that certain people ask you that are not innocent curiosity. They are doors being opened, doors into your trust, your money, your loneliness, your faith. If someone asks you these questions, especially in the early stages of knowing them, I want you to slow down, breathe, and pay attention with the full clarity the Dhamma has given you. This is not fear. This is sampajanya, clear comprehension. The ability to see what is truly happening, not just what appears to be happening. You have lived more than 60 years. You have earned this wisdom. Let us use it together. The first question is about your material life. It may not always come so directly. It may sound like this. Are you comfortable financially? Did you own your home or rent? Did your husband leave you with good savings? Do you have investments? Now, I want to be very careful here because context matters enormously. A financial advisor you hired has every right to ask these questions. A doctor helping you plan for care may ask. A family member you deeply trust may ask. But a new acquaintance, someone you met at church 3 weeks ago, someone who approached you at a community center, someone who has been unusually warm and attentive without a clear reason, when that person begins steering conversation toward your finances, you are seeing something important. In Buddhist teaching, we call this lobha, greed. But lobha does not always arrive wearing an ugly face. Very often, it arrives smiling. It arrives with coffee and compliments. It arrives saying, I just want to make sure you're taken care of. The question to ask yourself is this. Why does this person need this information? What changes for them depending on my answer? If their behavior toward you would change based on how much you have, if learning you are wealthy would make them more attentive, or learning you are modest would make them disappear, then their interest was never in you. It was in what you have. A true friend, what the Buddha called a kalyana mitta, a noble friend, does not need to know your bank balance to love you. The practice, when someone asks about your finances early in a relationship, you are not obligated to answer. A simple, calm, "Oh, I keep those things private," is a complete and dignified response. Watch what happens next. Does the person accept it gracefully? Or do they push, pry, or seem deflated? Their reaction will tell you everything. This one is painful to speak about, because questions about health can come from the most genuine place of caring. When a true friend asks, "How are you feeling?" that is love. That is metta. But there is a different kind of question, and I want you to recognize its texture. It sounds like this. Have the doctors given you any prognosis? Are you on a lot of medications? Has your condition gotten worse recently? Have you thought about what happens when you can no longer care for yourself? These questions, asked by someone who appeared in your life after you became ill, or asked with unusual persistence, or asked alongside conversations about your estate and your will, these are not expressions of love, they are assessments. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha teaches that anicca, impermanence, is one of the 3 marks of existence. Everything changes. Everything passes. This is a sacred truth. It is meant to bring us peace, presence, and liberation. But some people use your impermanence as a calculation. They are, in essence, making a quiet estimate. How much time do I have to work with here? How soon before the inheritance moves? How quickly do I need to act? I have seen this in communities across America, and it breaks my heart every time. The woman I mentioned at the beginning of this talk, the man who took $40,000 from her, one of the first things he asked her, within weeks of meeting her, was about her health. He framed it as concern. She received it as care. It was neither. The practice. Notice whether questions about your health come paired with questions about your finances, your family relationships, or your legal documents. Notice whether someone's attention to you increased after they learned you were ill. Genuine compassion does not calculate. Genuine compassion simply shows up, asks nothing, and expects nothing in return. This one is subtle, and it is perhaps the most dangerous of the 6. It sounds like this. Do your kids call you regularly? Are you close with your family? Do they really understand what you're going through? It seems like they don't appreciate how special you are. Do you hear what is happening there? This is a probe for loneliness, and it is almost always followed, perhaps not immediately, but eventually, by something like, well, I want you to know I'm here for you. I care about you in a way that your family doesn't seem to. This is one of the oldest patterns of manipulation in human history, and it works with devastating effectiveness on people who are genuinely lonely, people who have outlived spouses, whose children are busy, whose social world has grown smaller with the years. The Buddha taught very clearly about this. In the Sigalovada Sutta, the teaching on how we should conduct our relationships, he described the qualities of false friends, and near the top of that list is this: a person who flatters you to gain your trust, and then uses your trust to serve themselves. The question about your family is not innocent curiosity. It is reconnaissance. They are mapping your emotional landscape. They are looking for the gap, the place where you feel unseen, unappreciated, unloved, so that they can fill it. Not because they care about you, because filling that gap gives them power over you. The practice. When someone begins to position themselves as the one person who truly understands you, especially when they do so by subtly diminishing your other relationships, pause. A genuine friend lifts you toward your family and community. They do not make themselves indispensable by making everyone else seem inadequate. Ask yourself, does time with this person make me feel more connected to my life or more dependent on them? That answer is your teacher. Now, friends, I want to be honest with you. I am a Buddhist monk. I believe deeply in the interconnectedness of all things. I believe in karma. I believe that every moment is meaningful. So you might think, what could be wrong with this question? And the question itself is not wrong. The purpose behind it can be. Here is what it sounds like when it is being used as a trap. You know, I feel like we were meant to meet. I believe the universe brought us together for a reason. Have you ever consulted a spiritual advisor? I know someone who is very gifted. I had a vision about you. I think you are in spiritual danger. What is happening here is that someone is using the language of spiritual destiny to bypass your rational mind. They are positioning your relationship with them as cosmically ordained, which makes any doubt you feel seem like a failure of faith rather than wisdom in action. And in the American 60-plus community, this pattern shows up constantly in two forms: psychic scams and false spiritual communities that require financial giving to receive blessings. The Buddha was extraordinarily clear about this. He taught karma, not fate, not destiny, but intentional action and its consequences. You are not the victim of a cosmic plan. You are the author of your own choices. The Kalama Sutta says it directly. Do not believe something simply because a tradition teaches it, because a charismatic teacher declares it, or because it feels spiritually meaningful. Ask, does this lead to suffering or to freedom? Does this lead to wisdom or to dependency? Any spiritual teacher, I include myself in this, any teacher who tells you that your money, your obedience or your silence is required for your spiritual safety, is not offering you dharma. They are offering you fear wearing a spiritual costume. The practice. Genuine spiritual guidance always increases your freedom and your responsibility. If a spiritual relationship makes you feel more trapped, more obligated, more afraid, that is not the dharma. That is control. Of all 6 questions, this one cuts deepest for people with good hearts. Because it is not really a question, it is a mirror. It is holding up your own kindness and asking you to look at it. You are so generous. I know you would never turn away someone who is suffering. Would you be willing to lend, just temporarily, a small amount? It's for a child. It's for surgery. It's for a situation that won't last long. Friends, the Buddha's teaching on dana, generosity, is one of the most beautiful and central practices in all of Buddhism. Giving is sacred. Giving with a pure heart is a path to liberation. But the Buddha also taught something that is less often quoted. He spoke of worthy recipients of giving, not because the poor are unworthy, but because dana that is manipulated from you, dana that bypasses your wisdom through emotional pressure, is not truly your giving at all. If someone must make you cry before you give, they have not received your generosity. They have extracted it from you. In the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha describes a person of wisdom as one who gives at the right time after reflection. At the right time after reflection. Not in a moment of manufactured urgency. Not because someone has made you feel that only your money can prevent a tragedy. The pattern is very common, and it is designed specifically for people your age, because those of you who grew up with genuine community values, who learned that neighbors help neighbors, who were raised with compassion as a virtue, your generosity is real, and that realness is precisely what makes you a target. The practice. If someone needs your help financially, tell them you will need a few days to think and pray about it. Watch their reaction. A person in genuine need will say, "Of course, take your time." A person running a manipulation will create urgency, guilt, or emotional escalation. Give through organizations you have researched. Give when you initiate the giving from a place of peace, not because you were maneuvered into it by someone's tears. Your compassion is one of the most precious things about you. Protect it. And finally, we arrive at the 6th question. In some ways, this is the most heartbreaking one, because the loneliness it targets is very real, and the need it pretends to fill is one of the deepest needs a human being can have. It sounds like this. I feel like you're someone who really understands things deeply. Do many people see that in you? Most people your age don't have anyone who truly listens to them. That must be so isolating. You can tell me anything. I want you to know that I'm always here. I'm not going anywhere. What follows, over days and weeks, is a careful construction of exclusive intimacy. This person becomes the only one who really listens, the only one who really understands, the only one who stays. And gradually, without you fully noticing, your world shrinks. Other relationships feel less important. Family feels more distant. Community feels less necessary. Until one day, this person holds the only key to your emotional life. And now they have real power over you. The Buddha's teaching on Kalyanamitta, on noble friendship, true spiritual companionship, is very specific about what genuine friendship does. A Kalyanamitta does not make you dependent. A true friend draws you outward, toward your family, toward your community, toward your own inner wisdom. As the Buddha said to Ananda, when Ananda suggested that noble friendship was half of the holy life, the Buddha gently corrected him. He said, "Do not say that, Ananda. Noble friendship is not half of the holy life. It is the whole of the holy life. True friendship is the entire path. But true friendship never shrinks your world. It expands it. It walks beside you as you become more free, not as you become more bound." The practice. Ask yourself honestly, since this person came into my life, have my other relationships grown richer, or have they become less important? If your world has gotten smaller since someone entered it, That is not love. That is a cage being built around you, one kind word at a time. You deserve friends who open doors for you, not people who quietly lock them. So, let us sit with these 6 together for just a moment. Someone who asks how much money you have and changes their behavior based on your answer. Someone who asks how long you have to live and appeared in your life after you became ill. Someone who asks whether your children really love you and then positions themselves as the only one who truly does. Someone who says the universe brought you together and then asks for your money to secure your spiritual future. Someone who flatters your generosity and then extracts it from you through urgency and tears. Someone who offers to be your only true listener and slowly makes everyone else seem less important. These are not 6 different people. Very often, they are one person, one pattern, one ancient shape of greed disguising itself as connection. Friends, I have walked this dharma path for many decades. I have spoken with thousands of people across many countries, and I will tell you this with all the humility I have. The people who have been hurt the most were not foolish people. They were not weak people. They were good people, kind people, faithful people. People who had spent their whole lives giving and who, after 60 or 70 years of goodness, still found it hard to believe that someone could look at that goodness and see only a resource to be taken. The Buddha knew this. That is why he gave us not just metta, loving kindness, but also panya, wisdom, because compassion without wisdom is a door left unlocked, and wisdom without compassion is a room with no warmth. You need both. You deserve both. The Dhammapada opens with these words: mind is the forerunner of all actions. What we see clearly, we act on clearly. What we see with fog, we stumble through. Today, I hope I have helped clear a little of the fog. You are not being asked to distrust the world. You are not being asked to build walls around your heart. You are being asked to walk through the rest of your life with open eyes and a clear, undimmed mind, because you have earned that clarity, because your remaining years are too precious to spend recovering from someone else's greed. You are worthy of real friendship, real faith, real community. And if someone in your life cannot offer you those things honestly, you have every right and every Buddhist precedent to simply let them go, with metta, with peace, without anger, but without hesitation. If this teaching has touched something in you today, I would ask you to consider sharing it, not to alarm anyone, but to protect someone, perhaps a neighbor, perhaps a sibling, perhaps a friend who is going through a vulnerable time. The Dharma spreads one heart at a time, and if you are new to this channel, to Lotus Dharma Path, I welcome you. We are here every week, walking this path together, one teaching at a time. May you be well, may you be safe, may you be free from all forms of harm, including the harm that wears a friendly face. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.